Hello guys, so this is a review of Love Victor Season 2. I've been waiting for this season for a little over a year, has it been? The good thing about series is that the characters grow and then you grow with them, and it's so funny to see where they're at and see where you're at. I only got like a couple of hours of sleep last night, so I am feeling a little crusty, but I just wanted to get this review done as soon as possible. I obviously binge watched the show like yesterday, the entire thing. Yeah, I was not let down. Let's get started. Obviously, it picks up straight away from when Victor came out to his parents, and his mama took it the hardest, surprisingly. Like, you'd expect the dad to be like the macho type and have a lot of issues with it, and he obviously was like taken aback a little bit, but he coped. He even went to like parent meetings where they help you find ways to reach out and to show your kids that you support them no matter what and that type of thing. And his mom has trouble going to the meetings. She doesn't attend. um they are separated, as you'd remember. um they are taking time apart to really figure out if they're meant for one another, and then the dad ends up going out with another woman, but near the end of the series they get back together. But I mean, it's nothing is set in stone. I do have some points jotted down right here that I'm gonna be referencing, like looking over. So the next one is Victor's obvious struggle coming out to everyone else. Like from the get-go, obviously Victor, imagine in the first season he struggled to even admit it to himself, and he's still kind of struggling. He's new to it, but he has Benji now, and Benji's like lending him a hand along the way with everything that he has questions with, but he still feels very self-conscious that he's not completely comfortable in his skin yet. For example, when he goes back to school after the break, by the way, Mia, this whole time she's been in camp as I think I don't know, she volunteered, so she's not in the picture this whole time. It's been Felix, Lake, Mia, and Victor just hanging out, having a great time. So yeah, he goes to school, and at first he kind of denies. Well, he doesn't deny that he's gay, but he doesn't mention it. So then people assume that Mia cheated on him. So they start rumors at the Creekwood rumor thing online, and eventually Victor um gets the courage and stands on a chair and tells everybody, you know what, she didn't do anything, it was on me. And then they start obviously leaving Mia alone. Mia, after soon after coming back to school, she meets this guy who's in college, and she likes him and he likes her, but he ends up being a total jerk because, and I'm not completely sure if it's right to use the term jerk, but I think that's how she described him. So Benji has this cabin. Well, his parents own this cabin. Beautiful, beautiful place out in the wilderness, and he invites all his friends, Mia included, to hopefully like lose their virginity. Well, not them, but the ones that do, like Victor and Felix, who are still virgins, and Lake, I suppose. And Mia heads over with her college friend. They get a flat tire, and he asks her if she could change it because he doesn't want to like damage his hands because he works with his hands, which is something that's, I guess, uncomfortable. I think any girl would be a bit uncomfortable, but I don't think it's enough to. And I guess he was repeating like things about himself too much, so he was very much presenting like narcissistic qualities about him. But I don't think we could go as far as to say that he was bad because we didn't really get to see much of him. So she just dumps him and ends up walking like the rest of the 5 miles to the cabin. um Andrew now, you remember that Andrew, like Mia, like he was into Mia this whole time. Well, now he's dating this random girl who might be bi, because at the very end, and I know that I'm like going back and forth and everything, but um yeah, but I'm just getting through the main points so then I could give you my opinion about the series. I try to make it faster because I do tend to take a long time explaining the plot, and if you already watched it, then it's kind of meaningless. So yeah, this girl ends up asking Lake out, and Lake doesn't seem very taken aback. She's like, okay, I was like, we get some, Lake, or whatever. So Felix's mom plays a very very big role in this season. At least she does for me. We get to see her now. She's doing better, and then she's doing worse, and then she's doing better. She's struggling with mental health, which is a very serious thing. If I say something that's not completely accurate, feel free to correct me. I mean no offense with anything that I say regarding anything at all. This is just my opinion, and it's just a a series. So that's what my opinion is going towards. Like, I don't have a degree in psychology. I just want to put that out there so that you know. His mom suffers from, I think, depression and anxiety, but it's very severe. You know that she was sort of a hoarder. She wouldn't throw anything away, and now it seems the place seems a little bit more cleaned up. But still, it's still kind of I don't know if you could hear that bird. It's distracting me. There are so many birds around here. Um, I'll try to it's because a few hours of sleep are really getting to me, but I want to get this finished so I could publish it today. Yeah, that's a very, very, very big thing. One of the biggest problems in the whole season, aside from Victor's constant struggle with his sexuality, um, is that, for example, Felix and Lake are having the time of their lives. They even lose their virginity at the lake, like at the cabin that I told you about, while they were there with Benji and the other friends. Well, they weren't all there at the moment that they did that, but they all went, like I said earlier. And then she goes over. Felix invites her because he feels like his mom is doing a lot better um, mentally, so he wants her, Lake, to meet his mom. And then she freaks out at the end. She's like, you guys want dessert? I did this. And Lake's like, you know what, I have to go study and this and that. So she's like, fine. And she gives her some plates, and I'm laughing because of my interpretation. He gives her some plates, and Lake tell Felix is like, mom, we're not giving her our plates, we need those. And she's like, Felix, I want her to take them. And Lake is like, actually, you know what, I already have some at home, so I don't want there to be any conflicts, so I'll just leave this. And she's like, ah, and she throws it, and they all break. And like I said, I'm laughing, but it was honestly so uncomfortable to watch. And before I finish the plot, let me talk a little bit about that. I I'm one of the firm believers that we as humans, as people, none of us are completely healthy. None of us are 100%. Then we wouldn't be human. I really don't think so. We all have, our demons. We all have our struggles. Some more than others, of course. If you grew up in a regular household, maybe um mid middle to very high income from your parents, and like you go to a good school, you have a private tutor, and they give you a lot of love and respect, and they nourish you till you flourish, and etc., then maybe you don't have too many things to deal with aside from regular, maybe your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and regular stuff, but nothing too heavy. I get that. But at the same time, I still feel like you have some things, like I said, there are some things that are just in us from millions and millions of years of a lot, well, maybe not millions, but thousands and thousands of years of a lot of emotional trauma that's been passed down. Having said that, it was really uncomfortable seeing his mom even on the screen, because I have personally, how can I say? Well, I did work with with kids with autism, like I've mentioned in other movies that have a little bit of mental health as a topic, as a main topic. I did, but I really wouldn't imagine what it's like to be the kid taking care of the adult that is on and off, on and off, on meds, off meds. The meds are troubling, the meds are helping. It's a lot to carry, honestly. And the way that she acted, I've seen people act that way, and I could only feel, well, I felt so many things for Felix, honestly, because this is not something that just a made up character is going through in a series. This is something that happens in real life. I have mm, I have family members that I don't know too well, but that kind of have this spark that it's like their struggles with mental health are a lot heavier than mine, and it's obvious. Um, their kids know it and stuff like that, and I feel like it's not talked about enough. And it's so easy for us. For example, just picture yourself out there, at a store. I don't want to say brands as if I was sponsored. Like at Target, like yeah, nobody sponsors me. Imagine yourself at Target. You're in line, and this woman just cuts and starts telling you off and all these things. For example, the whole Karen situation that we hear about in the news and in social media. She cuts you off and she tells you off, and you're gonna want to retaliate. You're gonna want to offend that person. You want to maybe want to attack her or protect yourself, and you don't know what that person's going through, and it's unexcusable. Of course, like you can't just come up and like yell racist things or do this or do that. Of course not. But you understand where I'm coming from. Like we don't know how much they are present at that time. Like literally, like maybe they're not even there, and it's just a result of whatever disability that they have, and we don't know that, and we don't know how to react. And I feel like as a community, we should we should try to be more patient with people. And oh my gosh, did you guys hear in the news about that 6-year-old kid that got shot because of a road rage incident? I have a problem with the whole road rage thing because it's not road rage, it's stupidity. It's like craziness. You cannot. So I think like the mom of the kid, if I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken on the details, she cut off the other car and they got mad and they shot them, or she yelled something at them. You know, when somebody crosses you and stuff like that, something like that. Anyway, they were just mad and they shot at the car and they killed the kid. That's terrible, and that's what I'm talking about. I think we need patience, because this scene, for example, where Felix's mom goes to Lake's mom's work, and like as we all know, she works as an anchor, I think, at the news. She's a very important public personality, and Felix confesses to Lake what's going on with his mom, and Lake tells her mom, because she knows that her mom has contacts, so she has like professional people, psychologists that are very very prepared to deal with these type of things, so they could lend a hand. But then Felix takes offense to it because like, girl, I told you not to tell anyone, you just did, like you betrayed my trust. And her mom is only trying to help, but Felix's mom feels like, oh, you're taking none of what she feels. I don't want to say like it doesn't matter, but she's not herself, so we shouldn't really take into consideration why she was mad. But she went over to Lake's mom's job and complained, and they had to call security, and that's why social services gets involved, and they have Felix stay at Victor's house with his mom because he needs someone to take care of him, because I think he's only like 16 or 17, or at least to be responsible, because taking care is that he's not a little kid anymore. But that's a heavy situation. Like I said, you see these scenes of anger and burst out in the world, and you just say, oh well, Karen, oh well, this. And sometimes you could see, and I'm like I said, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anything like that, but sometimes it's pretty obvious. It's like apple, it's like that's an apple, that's a banana, like it's very obvious. So yeah, that really stuck out to me. I kudos to them for really bringing such a heavy topic to the light and for such a large amount of time, because it's important for people to know. And I think we really should be respectful, should be wary of these things that happen to all of us, but some more than others. For example, you might feel sad and you might be able to deal with it, and I'm not saying pretend, or maybe a little bit of pretend, but you could go to work, you could go to this, you could function. I feel another thing, and I will get on with the plot, but this is a very important thing that they talked about. Nowadays, it's popular to have depression. It's popular to be anxious. People are always commenting, "Oh, like my anxiety, blah 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 blah." And I'm not saying that they don't have it, especially if they've been properly diagnosed. But it's something that's like celebrated, something funny. They say, "Oh, I would go, but my anxiety is telling me no," and they throw these words out like it's nothing. Like, I have a little cold. I got the flu, but I have boogers. I know when I was growing up, these were things that, sure, they were hidden, under the bed. Nobody could talk about them. At least, from when I was a kid and growing up in my um, Mexican family. But I'm not saying to do that either. But I don't think that it should be joked. I think anything could be joked around with, but not with real. How can I say it? How can I say that makes sense? Like, in real life, mental illnesses, mental struggles are not something that's supposed to be cool. It's not funny. If you suffer from it, you'll know that it's no walk in the park. You don't want it. It prohibits a lot of. It prohibits. Um. I'm having a lot of trouble phrasing this, honestly, because I don't want to say something very insensitive, but I guess the whole point is that it really limits you. Physically prohibits movement. Um, it stops you from saying the things that you want to say when you want to say them, from being who you want to be, who you wish you could be. So that's not something to rally around and clap about. Ha, 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 we have depression, we're the depression team. I mean, like I'm saying, if you're like with depressed people and you're having fun and you want to joke about it, sure, but it shouldn't be a mainstream thing to a point where anybody who doesn't have it could just say that they have it and get a free ticket to just be fools. But anyway, enough about that, because then I'm never gonna finish. Let me see what's next. Oh, Pilar. So he's struggling with money to pay the rent because Felix, his mom, is not working, obviously. So Pilar was saving up with her friends to go to a Billie Eilish concert because she obviously likes her. We saw her from the first season. And she loans him $200 so he could pay the rent, and then he gets a little side hustle, so he's able to pay her forward. But after that, they 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 have these moments here and there. They talk, they have a good time. She starts caring a lot for him and starts being very attentive to his needs, and he starts noticing her as a woman, as a young woman, and they end up falling for each other. At the end they kiss, and you're probably thinking, but what about Lake? Well, Felix is still butthurt because Lake told the secret. Something that this series does from beginning to end that I don't like is they made the characters so unreliable, untrustworthy, if that's a word. Like, you can't trust them at all. You tell them something and the next second, that's another thing that I have for the series before I get into this. It's still in the same subject. the series moves on so fast that it doesn't give you time to process what's going on, and it's already flicking to the next scene with maybe other characters, but the continuation is going at a very, very, very rapid pace. I had trouble, well, not keeping up. It's very easy to follow, very, very easy. But I'm saying that I don't get to, to be in my little heart and be like, oh, well, this is going on. I wonder what's gonna know, because you can't wonder what's gonna happen because it's already happening. So you have to be like, okay, we have to move very fast. Um, and these characters are liars. Let me think of an example. Okay, so Victor finds out that it's Benji's birthday, right? She's like, oh, we're gonna go, he says to Victor, we're gonna go to a bougie little place, we're gonna eat, we're gonna have fun, my mom's gonna plan this and blah blah blah. So his mom goes over to the coffee shop where they both work, and she tells him, Victor, like, come to Benji's like celebration, it's gonna be fun, like dress all bougie, so they do all these things. And Victor goes there, and you could obviously tell that Benji is not happy with him being there. And at first, Victor's kind of like, oh, like, I wonder why, if it's a surprise, but it shouldn't be a bad surprise. And then his mom makes a toast to him being alcohol free. So he's been in AA this whole time. You know, when he mentioned that he crashed into the Wendy's drive-through, um, or maybe the Wendy's itself. Yeah, because he said he drive through Wendy's. Um, well, this whole time he's been keeping that a secret from Victor, and then when Victor finds out, he tells him, "Hey, you know what? Like, it's not a problem. But why didn't you tell me?" And then Benji flips. Benji's like, "Boy, I've been listening to you whine and complain about everything with your mom, and she don't accept you. She makes this so difficult for both of us. I've been nothing but supportive for you, leading you on the way because everything is new for you." That's something that they spoke about before, which I don't understand, because Victor told him, this is all new for me, this is overwhelming, and I feel like this is like too much for you. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And Benji assures him, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine, you take your time, this is not a problem for me. And then right there he flips instantly. I don't understand it. I know I'm going off topic about the lying thing, but that's about it. Like, I don't have much to say. Every character is a liar. They all lie, all of them. Mia's dad, Mia, Andrew, they all lie, and I don't like it because they are honest people. I'm not saying that I never lie. I have lied plenty of times, but as an adult, be, more conscious about my actions, and I would say that I almost never lie, almost. And if it's a lie, it's not a serious lie. I would never lie about something that would put somebody in danger or that's gonna like cause problems. None of that. But what was I saying? So yeah, I didn't understand why the whole Victor and Benji fight happened. I know that it's been very toxic, very much. This is literally the one time that I'm gonna use toxic, because it was a toxic environment with his mom. His mom is so non-accepting. It struck a chord with me over and over in the first episodes, with his mom acting like she was gonna support him, but then she didn't say boyfriend and all these things. uh, Dude, that's my family. That's my family 100%. Like, I don't want to put them out there like they're villains, because they're not. They have their own struggles and everything. But as far as my experience with people, it's like that. It's something that some people will say that, oh, we support you, oh, we're not gonna turn our backs on you. But that's one thing, that's fine. But I feel like as parents, you shouldn't be content with just tolerating. I would give tolerate to strangers. Oh, sure, you tolerate a kid crying at church. You tolerate it because you're not gonna go and slap the kid, I hope. You tolerate the boss giving a raise to somebody who you deem undeserving of the raise. You tolerate it because you're not gonna go up and start la 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 la, or maybe you would. But my point is that you could get away with it as a stranger, as somebody else that you work with, that you see casually, but not with your parents. Your parents should provide much more, and you as as the kid also should respect them and give them their place and everything. That's another thing that I hope I don't forget, the whole race issue with the series. But I'll get into that later. So they have that struggle, right, with the mom that's like throwing away food so that she doesn't give it to Benji. But at the end, Victor's mom really comes around and she talks to Benji. She says, "Boy, if it's because of me, don't do it. Don't throw your relationship um in the trash for me. Like I'm working on it and I'll get better. I promise." Near the end, so Pilar has this friend called Nahim who's also gay, but he's in the closet. He's Muslim and he's logically very afraid of what his parents are going to say when he comes out to them. So he goes over to Victor for advice, and Victor's kind of like, I don't know what to say, but he says the right things. And Nahim ends up having a very good coming out story, and his parents are supportive. He's like a theater kid, so his parents already knew, but it's one of those things where they just wait until the kid is ready to say it. Um, and then they have their moment because Benji and Victor are obviously fighting, so they get to know each other, they kiss, and they feel something. And at the end, at the very end of the series, I'm still going back to a little bit of the plot, but I'm almost done, I promise. So Victor ends up having to choose. Felix tells him that his mom did an exercise while in the psychiatric ward where you just close your eyes and envision the future. Who do you see yourself with? Who could you not live without? And who is that person? And Victor's like, I know who that person is. So he rushes over to that person's house, and we don't know if it's Raheem or if it's Benji. And to be honest, I know it's Benji. I mean, you could have a little argument because he did feel something for Raheem, so you see drama there. But at the end of the day, I think he'll stick with Benji. Let me see what else I have. Yeah, I think I already talked about Victor and Felix wanting to lose their virginity. There's a lot of humor in those scenes because Felix is shaving down there, and then and then Victor is trying to get signals so that Simon could give him sex tips, and he falls over and hits himself on like a counter or something. So he's bleeding. He goes over to the bathroom and he sees that Felix is bleeding like all over, and it sounds gnarly and grotesque, but it's actually really funny. Um, Mia's dad wants to move to California. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but Mia we all know that she has a lot of struggles with her mom and everything. She's finally accepting Veronica. So she tells her dad, you know what, Dad, I haven't asked you for much. I don't expect much because I know that you always favor your job over me. But this one time I'm asking you, could we please stay here in Atlanta? And his dad's like, sure, baby. That's why I'm saying that they're all liars. Then forward to the wedding day with Veronica and her dad, and he confesses, oh no, I took the job at Stanford, California. It's like, you lied to me. And honestly, I wanted, if I was a writer, if I had any say in the creative um development of the show, I would have preferred that Mia just flipped, not went like completely nuts, but yelled at him in front of everybody. It's like, you know what, screw you, screw your wedding, why would you do this to me? Because I want that. Mia's just like trying to dance with him. It's like, you know what, Dad, I can't do this. And then she goes, I'm like, girl, you know damn well you're allowed. That's why these things happen. I'm not victim blaming you. I'm not like doing that. Yes, I am. Mia, you have to stand up for yourself. And you have to tell your dad what's in your mind before things happen. This is also a, a common theme amongst every other character, is that they don't explain themselves in time. They wait for hell to break loose for them to get the fire extinguisher when they could have easily put out the little flame that started, or that did start the whole hell, metaphorically. That's a problem. As we need communication is all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, I think I mentioned everything. Yeah, finally, that's the end of the plot. I might be missing something. Oh, well, you know how I mentioned that Victor had a lot of problems with his basketball friends. Andrew, the captain of the team, ended up talking to his team and convincing them that Victor was not like a sexual predator, that they could take showers. It reminded me of Giant Little Ones, the movie that I reviewed as well, where they wanted to separate the people that were comfortable with the gay guy showering, and in this series in particular, they just wanted Victor to go to his own little place because everybody else was straight. So they ended up dyeing their hair pink. That's in support of Victor, and they end up winning the game. If I'm not mistaken, it's pretty cool, but it's not a very big part of the series, at least in my opinion. There were, like I said, so many things that were very relatable. Oh, before I forget, the whole race issue. So they bring it up midway, I would say, through the series, if I remember correctly, where Nahim and Victor are talking about Benji's disregard for the respect that he should have for his parents. And I see it. I see you, Nahim. It's true. It's true. There's obviously, we can't completely generalize and say that it's set in stone for every white person's like that. It's not. And by the way, here I'm just gonna use like, oh, you're brown, or you're like, it's nothing. Um, my intention is not to offend anyone, but I'm just gonna like say it for the sake of understanding who I'm talking about. But if I say like, oh, this Mexican, I don't mean like ew, I don't mean it like that. Um, so I've seen that in the United States, for example, with Caucasian families, it's a lot more, like I said, generally speaking, a lot more accepted for the kids to stand up for themselves, which is what Benji wanted for Victor. For you to say what you need and almost demand what you need. And if your needs are not met, you are vocal about it. And if there's a problem here, you go against whatever plan that your parents had that caused a problem to begin with. But in Mexican families, and like they're Colombian, in Latin America, and I feel like it's the same for a lot of other like Asian families, African families, it's not normal yet to do that. And I think, like, for me personally, I've been very outspoken about my needs for a long time. I've been doing what I want for years, many years, even before I became an adult. But I still have the repercussion, if that, should I use that word? I still have the bruises, I still have the wounds, but very deep inside, of having to be very robotic. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I will do this right away. Here you go, the glass of water. Do you like me? Thank you very much. And like, good job, good boy. Bye bye. I have that whole upbringing instilled in me. I don't think anything that's really gonna take it away fully. But being me and being the way that I was, I still know what's going on around me, and I know that it's very um rigid. The way that minority parents deal with these things, it's in a very rigid way. They're not flexible at all, and they take offense to if you're trying to say like, but mom, they're like, do not yell at me, do not raise your voice, do not contradict me, do not disrespect me, or you're out of the house. There's a whole bunch of things. And honestly, I've seen also, very close to me, situations where the kids rebel and the kids do what they want, and then they leave, and then the parents are like, oh, you are a disgrace to this family, you are out of the inheritance. All this mumbo jumbo. But then eventually they're very soft hearted, and they're like, oh, okay, come back, but please be nice. So it really depends. It's a case by case basis, but generally speaking, it's very difficult. And I don't know who's watching this, but if you're watching this and you're not Mexican, you're not like a minority, then you really you could say, oh, I understand, because my family was the same way. That's fine. But I'm trying to explain to you what I saw in the series that happens in real life as well, is that a lot of white people say this. I understand. I understand you 100%. And this is something that I saw in South Park, the cartoon show. Um, there's an episode. Let me try to remember. Token is going through some problems. I think maybe racial problems. And Stan, I might be mistaken, but Stan is angry that he apologized to Token and Token is not accepting his apology. He's like, you just don't get it, do you? And Stan is like, yes, I do, man. And I'm sorry. And I already apologized. So why can't you just let it go? Because you don't get it. And at the end of the episode, Stan tells him, you know what? I get it now. I don't get it. I could never fully comprehend what you're going through. So I know that I don't know what you're feeling. And with that in mind, that's basically the whole thing with when Nahim is talking to Victor about this whole race issue, is because people that don't know, like, you might have very similar, like, how can I, well, I don't really know much about Eminem the rapper, but I feel like he maybe went through things that other people mm, mm, it's probably not a good example because I don't really know much about him. So I don't want to say something people are correcting me. Wikipedia says otherwise. But I think you get the point. For example, if I was to eat chow mein, right? Chinese food. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly how to make it. Yeah, my family in Mexico, they make it. And I'm like, could it be true? Could I have grown up with my family knowing how to cook chow mein? Maybe. But there's so much more to something. And this might be a bad example, but for example, for Mexican dishes, for like tacos and quesadillas, sopes, pozole, all these things, all these foods, there's a lot that came with it. There's very interesting could I say documentaries, like short videos, informative videos about Aztecs and the Mayans and people that existed before me so that I could exist. And since then, they've been making these, well, variations of the foods that we eat now. So to have somebody say, oh, yeah, yeah, I get it 100%. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't add cilantro. You should add, like, it's like, Gordon Ramsay, calm down. You do not know what you're getting into. There's a big necessity for people to be able to relate to everything that's going on. Oh, you have depression? I get you. Me too. Oh, your mom left you? Oh, yeah, yeah. I also have a friend whose mom left her, and so I understand. Like, you don't have to at every waking moment of your life relate to another person. You could have sympathy for a person. You could have compassion for a person. You could have love. You could be there for the person suffering, but you can't say all the time that you understand 100% what they're going through, especially if you really don't and you haven't gone through it. So what's going on here in the series is Benji is having a hard time accepting that Victor is still searching for his mom's love, is still in need, to give her the benefit of the doubt and give her time to process. I'm one of those people, I could say it 100%. I've gone I've gone through almost the exact same thing, and I've given time to process. I don't give up on people easy, but at the same time, I mean, I do have my limits, of course, but I do feel that I, I have realistic expectations. The main thing that I could tell you, if you're going through something similar, have realistic expectations. If it's a very, very ultra religious family, um, very conservative, and you know in your heart, you know that views are not going to change, that it might take a miracle, it might take many, many, many years, then expect many, many years. And don't lie down one night and think tomorrow's gonna be better with these particular people, because if they spent 30, 40, 50, or 60 years or even more with your grandparents with this thought, and it's not easy, you can't just erase it. So it's definitely not easy for them, and they are not the ones that are they're struggling in their own way, but dude, it's not the same as you actually having to carry the pride flag around and having people spit at you, call you names and stuff like that, because it still happens. As I wanted for them to highlight that, and I'm glad that they did. I feel like it could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse. Nowadays, you could come out and sure, it's not as bad as in the 90s in my time. But and you guys are like, oh, you probably wouldn't remember. But even though I was born in the mid 90s, I still remember that epoch and how things went down. And even early 2000s, it was a much different world. But we can't say that it's so accepting and so pink and bubbly nowadays. It's not. It's not. Another theme that's discussed here is, for example, Andrew, the captain of the basketball team. Obviously, I think we all know who Andrew is. Tells Victor, you're like the least gay person that I know. And Victor says something like, what if I later want to dye my hair pink? What if I want to be flamboyant and out there and colorful? Because he also has problems with Benji's friends who are making fun of him for you being a jock and oh, he was an ex basketball player and like this and that. And I think Andrew really understood at that moment what Victor was trying to say. And it happens a lot in the community, a lot. You feel like you have to give up something to get another thing. Me, for example, I have such a hard time with my passions in life are so artistic. Everything that I really, really, really enjoy outside of, the core family, friends, my city, and like, those type of things, it's art. Art moves me. I'm driven by art. I'm driven to art and driven to create art. And it doesn't flow very well, especially my type of art. Like the type of pictures that I sometimes take, the type of songs that I sing. I'm not a singer at all, but I do sing bad, but I do it often. And I feel like there's a lot of criticism. I don't just feel, I see it because I'm also a fan of MMA, mixed martial arts. I feel like I'm so old that I'm not gonna get a chance, but I don't want to die without giving it a try. Not to, to be a professional, be a world champion. Probably not realistic, and it's not what I'm hoping. But at least I wanna do it for a few years. I wanna get better at it. And there's a lot of darkness in that, and you being different and being in a sport, any sport, but especially a combat sport. Imagine, like, it's like, get away, like, you're gay, you're this, you're that. And I've seen it, I've heard it. So you sometimes have to sit and question, where do I go? Do I go the typical I'm so straight, yeah, bro, way? Or do I go the hey girl, yes, queen, work it? Where do I go? Where do I fit? Sometimes you don't fit anywhere. And my advice, what I've seen to be true from my experience, is be yourself to the best of your ability. Try and peel off these layers that were put onto you that never belonged to you. Because put mosquito wings on a bee, it's not going to be the same. Put the stinger on a fly, it's not going to be the same. Everything, it's in its place, and you were born the person that you were supposed to be, and it's your job, your responsibility to be true to yourself as much as possible. We always have like influences and like the neighbors speaking in your ear. You have teachers. You have all these things. So take from everyone and everything what you feel describes you best. What you feel is really you. Because it's not bad to receive criticism. I'm not saying if somebody ever says something about me or my art, then I will. No, it's not like that. People have their opinion. It's fine. But you don't have to hold on to everything. You don't. You're going to explode if you do. Take what you want and be who you are. If you're very out there, you're very lively, then be lively. Uh, I knew I had something else to say about that, but it kind of blinked out. I really went into this. Woo! It's just it's just a very difficult thing. It really is. Um, Sometimes you live thinking that things just really won't change, and it's part of just accepting life as it is. Some people lose their parents, some people lose their siblings, some people lose their mobility and they're bound to a wheelchair or a bed. Some people lose their will to live. Lots of people lose many things. We all do. At one point or another, we're going to lose something. If not, we lose ourselves. We die young. Which is, death shouldn't be seen completely as a loss, because we're just revolving energy, recycled energy, in my opinion. But yeah, this might sound harsh, but like I said, if you don't have that respect, if you don't have that shoulder to cry on, and that person is your mom or your dad or your caregiver, be realistic. Be realistic, and you could move on. You could do it. Hopefully, you don't have to, but you could do it. That's the biggest thing that I could say about this. Um, I want to flip the coin a little bit before I finish with Benji. I think that they were really flipping out too fast. I wish that they could have made maybe 20 episodes so that they could really take their time with this, because I feel like characters were going from to very, very fast, like I mentioned earlier. But Benji had a point. Um, Benji had his way of doing things, and Victor couldn't relate to that either. So it's not just about white people not understanding minorities, it's everything. Like, I couldn't understand what a black person is going through with police brutality, because we see it, for example, with Mexicans too, and Puerto Ricans and Latinos. We do see it, but I've seen and I've heard from classmates, because I haven't ever experienced it ever in my life, but from classmates when I was in high school and middle school, I've seen it happen to them. Well, I've seen them tell the story of it happening to them, and it's mainly a thing. I don't know why. It's like targeting black people, and you might have a different opinion. It's fine. We could have different opinions, but I think that they are being targeted for uh I mean, the history of the country. It's just so many things at stake. But I do believe that the majority of the people, and especially somebody watching a Love Victor review, is not really going to think that, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I really don't think that would happen. But if it did happen, you have your own opinion. We all have our own opinion. So vote for the people that you consider are going to make the best change for the country, and that's it. That's all you could really do. Um, what else am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing some things, but I think I said the most important things. Um, yeah, let me finish with: have faith, accept what you want to accept, but don't expect too much, and peel those layers that don't belong to you so that you could be happy. Um, and I guess that's it. I hope that we see a season 3. I really, 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 I really, 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 really do. Um, because I had a very fun time. I rewatched the first season, and it was kind of like, oh my goodness, because like for example, I watched Sex Education, in that series. I feel it's a little, how do I say? It's different, true, different country, different actors, different everything, but it's a little bit better quality and better better acting. I think a higher production value, but regardless, I don't want to say that Love Victor has any less heart. And I don't know if the original writer of the Love Simon book was involved. I didn't double check, sorry, but if she was, and awesome. I'm always glad to see her come back. Um, this is, like I said, is a little bit lower level, but these characters grow on you, and I feel like the heart is there, and that's what's important. I had a fun time. The actors are fine. The production is fine. The writing is fine. The message is humongously valued. At least I value it. And I'm sure lots of other people value it. If not, there wouldn't have been a second season. Hopefully, they have like I said, a third season. I'm looking forward to it. I was a little bit. Nick Robinson came back. He came back, but only for a little while. And Victor's basically like, I don't need you anymore, boy. And Simon was like, don't be a stranger, Dean. Um, so that was really short, and I hope to see him more. But I get it, but it's always a treat. But what I was gonna say is that I'm a little bit disappointed that the other characters didn't come back. These guys right here, they weren't there. None of them, aside from obviously Simon. So hopefully, if there's a third season, they bring them back. I guess it's something to look forward to. I hope that. I wonder if at the end, Mia and Andrew are running away. Oh, they're going to visit her mom. So hopefully, that's what I was thinking in my mind. I was like, girl, just go to your mama's house. Be like, I'm staying with you, girl. You owe it to me for ditching me. And even though as such, I don't want to get into that because then this review is never going to end. I wonder how long it is because I've been talking for a long time. I'm getting kind of sore. And yeah, I am not feeling crusty anymore. I don't feel lightheaded either. I think by the time I get up out of this chair, I'm gonna be like, because like I told you, I didn't sleep well. But anyway, enough of the elongating this. Um, that's it for this one. Love Victor season 2. I'd give it a rating of 8.5 out of 10. It was fun, entertaining, and full of heart, and I'd recommend it, especially if you watch the first one. Thank you for watching.